Welcome back to the Navy Australian Open titles here at Stockton. Fantastic conditions here for the biggest race meet outside the Nationals, you'd have to say. Grant Wilkinson joining me in commentary. It's almost time for the reserve grade final. Let's have a look how the 6 crews made it through to the decider. Wilco, and of course, another classic battle here at Stockton. We've got Queenscliff, Ostermere, North Cottesloe and Tugun in the battle to see who are the first 3 crews to the decider.
And Queenscliff looks like doing very well there, coming across the line in first place, doing it quite comfortably as well.
Ostermere White also in the battle there. It was pretty fluky conditions for this one. Bit of a runner on the way back in, but it was tough. You had to catch the right ones. Queenscliff obviously getting the job done though. They did steamroll the rest of the crews home to comfortably take that one out, while the battle for the minor placings well and truly on, Wilco, because only 2 more crews from this one would make it through.
It makes it very hard. It seems an easy task. 4 boats in, 3 going through to a final. That last place is absolutely critical.
And unfortunately for North Cottesloe, they weren't good enough to get through. Just missing out. The 3 crews through: Queenscliff, Ostermere White and Tugun, the team from the Gold Coast, getting through to the first couple of spots in the final of the reserve grade as semi-final 2. Let's have a look how they lined up in this one. Bagola, Currawa Thunder, the Gerringong Naps and the Freshwater Knights doing battle again. 4 crews in, only 3 would go through, and the start crucial yet again, Wilco.
Bilgola, again, notoriously quick starters. They're always out of the blocks quick, but Freshwater have been the surprise packets all weekend. They've had some harder alleys in their early rounds and have always managed to come through with the goods. They'll be hard to beat come the final.
Not just pace at the start, but technical things like that on the turn as well. Bagola known for it. Their crews very well trained, and their precision at the tactical points of the race also pretty strong as well. And that really helped them through as they dominated this semi-final, to be fair.
Sweep, Don McManus there, bringing Bilgola home. Absolute legend in surf boats. Hall of Famer, 9 Australian gold medals under his belt. There's no one better to drive you home over the line.
Absolutely, but a huge finish too for the Freshwater Knights. They certainly pushed Bagola all the way to absolutely make sure they got through to the final as well, with Currawa Thunder knocking out the little club from the south coast of New South Wales, Gerringong. They were valiant, but they just couldn't sneak a spot through to the decider of the reserve grade. So that's how the 6 crews won a spot through to the decider for the Navy Australian Open Reserve Grade Final. Ostermere White, well, they will be one of the favourite crews, you would have to say, in the race for the 2013 crown. Bagola, of course, one of the powerhouse crews. And look who's on the back, the sweep, Donnie McManus, one of the legends of surf boat racing in Australia. The Freshwater Knights, they stormed home to come second in their semi-final. They are through to the decider as well, as is Currawa, one of the strong crews from the Gold Coast as well. They'll have plenty to say about who wins the title in this one. Queenscliff, the T-Rexes, they were dominant in the first semi-final. They will be a crew to look out for, as will Tugun, the Gold crew, with Bruce Zillman at the back of the boat there as well, as they line up for the reserve grade final here at Stockton. Who do you like, Wilco?
I'd have to say Ostermere would be my favourites. They're a very well-skilled and very well-drilled crew. They're extremely fast, but they tend not to make any mistakes. The dark horse for me would be Freshwater. They've been the most impressive out of everyone all through the earlier rounds.
Well, let's see how they get away. Queenscliff, they were so good in the semi-final. They've blasted off the sand here at Stockton, but it's can they get through the shore break here? It's been so tricky all day. You're on board there with Bagola, the Billy Goats. They will be one of the favourite crews to look out for as well. And it's just going to be, one of the boats there on the northern end of the beach, and Bagola now copping it as well. We talked about it, the start's so crucial, particularly at the northern end of the beaches, Wilco.
Bilgola copping a boatload of water there, and they've got another wave in front of them, just getting over the top of that, and they're going to have to power up now and really use a lot of energy to get back into the third wave again.
One, is it? I think it's 4 now in count. They've been hammered off the sand here at Stockton. Can they recover from that? They've copped an absolute bucketing. Look, there's water still pouring out of the back of the boat.
Those electric pumps in the boat, Don McManus would have hit the switch. You see on the side of the boat, their water pouring out the side, and they're halfway out. It's still coming out of the boat.
Oh, they have really copped it, Bagola. You'll have to see if they can make up the mountain of ground they've lost off the start. They weren't the only crew to cop it off the start, to be fair. So that's where the race can be won and lost sometimes at the start. Bagola now battling to get back on the pace. Still plenty of water sloshing around in the back of the boat there. Donnie McManus must be wondering what's happened for his boys from Bagola. They would have been one of the favoured crews heading into the final of the reserve grade here at Stockton, but luck has not been kind off the start, whereas Ostomy look like they have got the better of things so far at the race for the cans here, Walker.
And Ostomy, back of screen there, already turned and out of there as we see Bulgola get around. Not a great turn, it looks like, but they're on the white can. That's the southernmost can turning marker. They'll have the best run home here. Hopefully they can make up that ground.
Well, that is the race for the finish line now. Ostomy, Freshwater, Queenscliff. They were the first three crews to turn. We're back racing on board with Bulgola. They look like they've rid the boat of most of that water that crashed into the boat with that heavy battering off the start line, but they have so much ground to try and make up here. If they get a runner, of course, it can all change on the finish line.
And Freshwater, alley one, left of screen, they've done a remarkable job to come back right back into this.
Quite incredible. That is the alley, of course, of death, if you like. No crews have really been able to feature so far in the decider, but they are well and truly in the mix, as is Bulgola. Somehow they have rid the boat full of all that water. Of course, they copped it off the line. A number of waves absolutely hammering them. Somehow, Donnie McManus looks like he may have them somewhere back in the mix for a minor placing. But that is the crew at the top of the screen, Ostomy, who are powering home. They have their noses in front. They are the crew to beat as we only have metres left in the reserve grade final.
And just out of shot here, Freshwater come flying home, but it looks like Ostomy just going to get across the line in front of them.
Oh, they just left their finish a little bit too late, I would think, have Freshwater. They have stormed home, though, like you said. They really put the pressure on Ostomy at the end as Tugan and Queenscliff now. They're in a battle for the minor placings, but Bulgola also stormed home somehow incredibly late on the wave. But that is your winner in the reserve grade final. Ostomy, they got the cash. They are the champions for 2013. Freshwater home second, and Bulgola, they have snuck into third. They nudged out Queenscliff, Tugan and Currawa for the minor placings after what was a terrible finish, but Ostomy are your champs.
First year together, this crew. We've got Mark Davis in here to set them up for these young blokes. Mark's 51, still smashing the young blokes. We only probably got third in one race or a couple of races all weekend, and we kept it strong and long, and that's the way to go.
So Ostomy crowned the 2013 reserve grade champions at the Navy Australian Open titles here at Stockton. Let's find out who is going to win the Australian crown in the Open women's section. We are going straight to the final. It is a 7-crew final, no semi-finals required. Avoca unable to meet the starters' instructions in their semi-final. So 7 crews go through. Bulgola Black is there. Mitch Foran, the sweep there for the black crew from Bulgola. And Grant Wilkinson, our co-commentator, is now involved in this final. He's the sweep for Allura Wilco. Good luck, Wilco. Helensburgh, Stanwell Park, the Bruisers. Mark Lee at the back for them, the sweep for that crew. Janjak, they're also in the decider for the Open Women's. The Black Mambas, can they feature in the finish? Currawa will have plenty to say about that as well. They are also through to the 7-crew final here at Stockton. Moruya there, the Vikings, Gavin Hunt, the sweep for that crew. They will be fighting out for the top placing here as well with Tugan, one of the Gold Coast crews in battle here. Bruce Zillman back in action for that crew as well at the back. So it's Open Women's final time here at Stockton Beach for the Navy Australian Open title. 7 crews through this one. They are spread along the beach. That is Allura. That is Grant Wilkinson. You've been listening to his expert thoughts throughout the day. Now you get to see the man in action with his crew in the Open Women's final. Tough conditions here at the start as well, of course. The waves aren't big, but they can make a huge difference, particularly at the northern end of the beach here at Stockton. You're on board there with Curra, of course, out of one of the powerhouse Gold Coast surf life-saving clubs in Australia. As they power through the shore break, that looked like Moruya. Moruya in a bit of difficulty off the start. Oh, another one. They're out of their seats. They're absolutely getting hammered. And they're not the only ones. That's Helensburgh, Stanwell Park. You can see the sweep actually dropping the oar. And again, as they try and find a way through this tricky shore break here at Stockton, we'll have to wait and see just what sort of time that's cost them. And you can see the 2 crews at the northern end of the beach really fighting to get back on the pace here in the final of the Open Women's. Not so Currawa. Look at them. Straight into stride. They've powered up and they're looking pretty strong already early on in this final. Where's Allura? Where's Grant Wilkinson? Well, they're back in the field. You can tell by that shot. They've had some difficulty off the start as well. But this is the front-running 3 crews in the battle for the Open Women's final here at Stockton. Currawa, they are powering away But also on the back of them was Janjuk fighting neck and neck. Bears Bagola, they're still in the hunt as well, as the race for the Cairns now well and truly on. But something happened to the Allura crew. I'm not sure what. We couldn't pick it up at the start. But Wilco, his crew have a job to do now here to try and hunt down this leading team, Currawa. Look at them, absolutely powering through now in the race to the Cairns here at Stockton. They look like they are now the team very much to beat, as the 7 crews now head to the Cairns in the battle for the Open Women's Final Crown. Well, difficulty off the start there for a number of crews, but Currawa, it's been smooth sailing for them. To be fair, though, they are being pushed by a fellow Gold Coast crew in Tugan. They are certainly not having it all their own way in the Open Women's Final here at Stockton. You are on board there with Currawa. They have set the pace here as they turn. Look, it's pretty close to, isn't it? Plenty of crews still very much in the race here for the crown. The Tugan Hunters, though, mid-pack, look like they have got a really good turn. Currawa, though, have got their noses in front, but Tugan look like they've pushed themselves up into second place. Bagola, Janjuk, they got a great start, but they're actually turning the Cairns now in 4th place. But really, there's not much in it, as the race for home now is well and truly on. Who can get the runners first? Of course, the swell here at Stockton has thrown up a big run home for a lot of these crews. Currawa have their noses in front, and you are on board with them now as they try to find this runner home to confirm their #1 spot. But there is still plenty of time left for these backmarkers to find something of a big finish. It is well and truly on here in the race for the Australian Open Women's Crown here at Stockton. Currawa, they are at the southern end of the beach, which has been the best part of the beach. But look at the runners, they're coming. The Tugan Hunters crew, they've found a great one. Look at them, they are flying home, Tugan. This is something of a dream finish. Every crew wants to see a runner like this as they power home in the biggest race of their calendar. And incredibly now, the race leaders for so long, Currawa, they're in a battle for the minor placings. You can see the sweep turning to his right. There's 4 crews on the one wave, and Allura, Wilco, he's performed a miracle. He's got Allura really back on the pace. Janjuk are up there. So too Bagola. But that is your Open Women's Champion for 2013, Tugan. They have stormed home. A barnstorming finish from the crew from the Gold Coast. They are going to be crowned the winners here, but look at the battle for the minor placings. Allura, Wilco's there. So too is Janjuk. The battle well and truly on. Where's Currawa? The race leaders for so long. Have they snuck across to at least finish in the minor placings? Because Tugan, they've won it, but the battle for the minor placings, well, you can throw a blanket over them. Here's Bagola as well. They can't be discounted. Well, what a finish. Absolutely incredible stuff here. Currawa, the race leaders for so long, could do nothing. They watched Tugan get an absolute stunning run home. They are the champions here at Stockton for 2013. Hugs all round for them. An absolute outstanding effort, a grandstand finish, if you like, for Tugan. They left their run absolutely perfectly at the finish. They are the champions. But Janjuk have snuck home for second, the Black Mambas, while Allura and Wilco have pulled off a minor miracle after that start. They're third. Currawa finish out of the placings. Just amazing. The winners, though, Tugan.
It was a really enjoyable row. We felt in control of that race right from the gun. We have a really good time. That's what counts.
Tugan, they are the champions for 2013. Congratulations to them. After the break, though, we find out who will be crowned the Open Men champions for 2013. Don't go away.